When you have a list of data in Excel, you may need to analyze it. Rather than adding data up, you may need some sort of summary sheet that perhaps you're going to put into a Word document, or just to quickly and easily get some detail on your data that you have here. You can do this using something called a pivot table. So first of all, your data needs to be laid out correctly, so no blank columns or rows. If I go to the Insert tab and I choose Pivot Table, Excel recognises that the layout of the data on the current worksheet is consistent with a table or a range of data, a list. Now it says here, is this the data that I want to analyse? Now in the real world, I may not know that this list is in fact my entire list, so you may want to scroll down and check it out. I know in this instance that this is correct. It's going to put this pivot table on a new worksheet, which is good because what it allows me to do is just focus on the table that I'm trying to create. Just click OK. From here it drops a layout. Now yours might be slightly different. There might be some text sitting here, but ultimately it all operates in the same way. So the key thing with the pivot table is if you have a whole lot of data, you need to understand what you want it to look like at the end. So for example, do I want my states sitting over here and my order amount, which is the only amount I can sum, sitting in here? Or do I want my client detail here, then the state, then the order amount? Let's start out with something simplistic. I'm going to grab the client details. Now I can either drag them over here, or my second option is to drag that button down here, and you'll see that it's sitting down here in the rows area. Now I'm going to grab the order amount and I could drop it here, or in this case I'm going to drop it down into the values area. So what I now have is a quick table that tells me the summary of all the orders. What I could do is I could right-click on the sum of the orders and choose Value Field Settings. From here you can see it's showing as a sum, but there are a range of different options that I could have there, and it's worth exploring if you're just starting out using pivot tables. If I go to number format, from here I can choose the currency option, and I could choose to remove the decimal places. So perhaps I just want the dollar signs and I want the items rounded up. So I click OK and OK again. And my data is now formatted in currency format. Now be aware that pivot tables by default, if something changes in your list of data, this data doesn't automatically update. You'll need to activate a refresh. You can do this in a number of ways. You can right-click and you'll find that there is an option to refresh, or there's an option up here on your Pivot Tools ribbon. It's worth having a bit of a look around at the different options that you have available. You have the Design tab and you could change the look and the feel of everything. And on the Analyze tab, you can choose to activate a variety of different options, switching on or off field headings, turning into a chart, so charting this data that you have here. For example, I can click on Pivot Chart and click on Pivot Chart, and it turns that data into a chart of information.